Find out why did Grace Kelly sacrifice a lot for marrying to Prince of Monaco. She was known for seducing powerful leading men. Before her marriage, she was known to successfully pursue the leading men in her films, including Gary Cooper, Clark Gable, Ray Milland, Bing Crosby, and Marlon Brando. Once she was married, however, she knew that her husband cheated on her, and the sadness that unearthed in her led her to return to her old ways. Those ways included an extended affair with Frank Sinatra and rekindled feelings for Brando. She married the Prince of Monaco. During the Cannes Film Festival in 1955, Grace Kelly was introduced to the man who later got to be her husband, the Prince of Monaco, Rainier Louis Henry Maxence Bertrand Grimaldi. During that year it was obvious that there's something between them, and soon the Prince of Monaco asked her to marry her, and she said yes. After completing her last movies in 1956, Grace Kelly with 50 of her family and friends left the USA and went to Monaco for her wedding. There were more than 20,000 people on the streets, and after the official ceremonies, Grace Kelly was no longer just a popular Hollywood actress, she had a real royal title, the Princess of Monaco. She was engaged to someone else. Before her marriage to Prince Rainier, Grace Kelly was engaged to be married to fashion designer Oleg Cassini, who was famous for being the man behind the Jackie look of First Lady, Jacqueline Kennedy. As a young woman, Grace reportedly dated the Shah of Iran. He was said to have given her vast amounts of jewelry including a gold bird cage housing a diamond sapphire bird, a gold vanity case with a clasp set with 32 diamonds, and a gold bracelet with an intricate pearl and diamond face. Not all that glitters is gold. Kelly was only 26 when she decided to retire from acting and marry Prince Rainier of Monaco. Despite seeming to live an incredible life as a princess, Kelly was known to suffer from depression and yearn for her acting days. Despite all the luxury and the lavish lifestyle, the life of the Princess of Monaco was not all plain sailing. It has been well documented that, away from the glitz, the glamour and the photographers, Grace Kelly longed to return to her own life and suffered from psychological problems. According to various sources, including J. Randy Taraborelli in his book Once Upon a Time, Behind the Fairy Tale of Princess Grace and Prince Rainier, Kelly struggled with some aspects of her royal marriage. In particular, she missed being able to continue her acting career, especially after Prince Rainier went so far as to ban her films in Monaco. She did continue to support the arts in various other capacities, however. She's the first actress with a stamp. In order to honor Grace Kelly, in 1993 the United States and Monaco decided to issue a stamp in both American version, where she is presented just as Grace Kelly, and a Monegasque version as Princess Grace. Czeslaw Slania, a stamp engraver from Sweden, engraved the design of the stamp by using a photo from the country girl. Having a stamp with her photo on it meant that Grace Kelly was the first actress in the United States to have a stamp. She probably could have been an athlete. When Grace Kelly was born in the East Falls neighborhood of Philadelphia in 1929 to Margaret and Jack Kelly, her athletic pedigree was formidable. Jack Kelly, who ran a wildly successful brick company, was also one of the finest rowers ever to dip his oars in the Schuylkill River. He wasn't just a local phenom, though. Jack had 3 Olympic gold medals in sculling to his credit. He picked up single and double scull gold at the 1920 Games in Antwerp, and then defended his double scull gold with his cousin Paul Costello in Paris in 1924. Kelly's mother, Margaret, was no slouch either. She had been a world beater as a collegiate swimmer at Temple, and then became a physical education instructor at the University of Pennsylvania, where she became the Ivy League school's first ever women's sports coach after she organized a basketball squad. She wasn't considered beautiful in her younger years. Throughout her adult life, Kelly was frequently cited as one of the most beautiful women in the world. But she wasn't considered particularly attractive in her younger years, even after landing some work as a model. According to an A&E biography, her family and friends, who had never thought of her as being anywhere near movie star material, were stunned when they saw her on the big screen for the first time. As one of her childhood friends recalled, "We had no idea she was as beautiful as she was." Grace always a bandana on and had the glasses and the sweater, nothing glamorous. And when she went to New York and we started to see her on television and in magazines, it was, my heavens, that's our Grace. She was Hitchcock's muse. In 1949, Grace Kelly had her debut on Broadway with her role in The Father, and after her graduation at the Academy, she moved to Hollywood, where she had minor movie roles. Her first major movie role was in High Noon, 1952, and her next major role was in the movie Magambo. Both movies were her breakthrough in the Hollywood industry. Soon, Grace Kelly became the muse of one of the greatest movie directors of all time, Alfred Hitchcock. He found her very elegant, beautiful and talented, so he gave her major roles in his movies Dilemma for Murder, 1954, Rear Window, 1954, and To Catch a Thief, 1955. Becoming a princess wasn't cheap. She had to pay $2 million and take a fertility test to marry Prince Rainier. Marriage to Prince Rainier III of Monaco meant observing some eccentric and outdated traditions, to put it mildly. In 1956, for example, not producing an heir was not an option, so Kelly was required to take a fertility test. She also had to give up her American citizenship. So, Kelly's family was required to pay a dowry of $2 million. Kelly's father was outraged by this demand and initially refused to pay up, allegedly saying, "My daughter doesn't have to pay any man to marry her." However, Kelly eventually prevailed upon him and reportedly ended up forking over half of the dowry herself. Rainier's friend Aristotle Onassis supposedly chipped in as well. Double trouble with terrible consequences. Kelly's life ended too soon following a car accident. In 1982, at just 52 years old, and while driving with her daughter, she had a stroke and wound up going down a mountainside. Stephanie, her daughter, suffered a hairline fracture as well as a light concussion and wasn't even able to go to her mother's funeral. Prince Rainier sadly had to make the decision to take his wife off of life support after discovering her injuries were too severe. French doctors discovered that Kelly actually suffered 2 brain hemorrhages. The CAT scan showed the first happened prior to the crash and was likely the reason why the car accident happened. The second happened after, when she was in hospital. It likely occurred because of all of the trauma her body endured from the accident. Question of the week: do you remember how old was she when she had the car accident? Leave your answers in the comments and we will pick a winner in the next week. What do you think about Kelly's life? Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Drop us a suggestion for the future's videos.